Resolution number 4.
Okay, resolution number 4 is a resolution exonerating the real estate tax collector from the collection of uncollected taxes for the year 2015. This is a housekeeping resolution that we pass. In fact, every community, or at least every community, should pass it on the taxes that will be deemed as delinquent after council presumably will exonerate Mr. Fulkerson, the tax collector. And the amount of the delinquency is $191,743.92. Am I correct, Mr. Fulkerson?
You are correct.
Okay. Now, if you consider that we collect approximately $9 million in real estate taxes, I think that's pretty good as far as the delinquencies are concerned.
You
Question.
can get much better than that.
Question. These will now go to the delinquent tax collecting, correct? There's one on here that, I mean, there's some on here that just, I don't understand why we haven't got, like Foxwood Swim Club. How can they not pay a tax?
Because they don't pay.
Pat, we can't hear you.
Excuse me. I didn't know I was supposed to come up.
If you would, please, Mr. Fulkerson.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Mr. Fulkerson.
Thank you.
Mr. Fulkerson, how are you?
All right there, Mr.
Yeah,
Conley.
I'm confused. I just
Don't
picked
be
out,
confused.
there's a few of them on here that, you know, I don't understand when you have a swim club that's collecting money from their residents to operate, and they're not paying their taxes to Monroeville, which is where they're located.
All right.
How do they keep being able to do that? Is this,
It's their board and they don't pay their taxes. What do you want me to do?
isn't there anything you can do to the swim club or something?
I think we should take the board and, no, really, you can't. You have to, they're delinquent. And so when they go to delinquent, we charge penalties, we charge interest, we charge everything, and we request it. Now, if you would like, I can gather, there's a couple swim clubs on there, and you can decide that maybe you should shut them down.
Yeah. Is this list made available for the public to see?
If you would like it, it becomes a public record right now.
Okay,
You have it, it's public record. Now, it wouldn't be in public record in my office.
right.
But once I give it to you, that piece of paper is public record.
Okay,
That's the rules of the game.
okay.
But you have to be, you bring things up, and you should be aware that,
Well, you see the same, like, I mean, here's like I guess it's Franklin Brothers, BRO, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. How does
Yeah.
something like that happen?
I don't really know that particular property, but
Custom Homes, same thing. I mean, it's not huge
they
amounts,
haven't
but
paid, they have lots, and they haven't paid in the last 10 years.
Abandoned.
And the lots are worth, maybe at that, on there, they're probably worth about $2,000 a piece.
So what's the cost of going to place some liens on these kind
No,
of?
the liens are on there.
Oh, the liens are on there?
Yeah, that's not the problem.
Okay,
The problem is collecting the money
Okay.
from them. And they feel it isn't, I don't know what they feel, because you're speaking of people and you don't know how they feel about paying their taxes. But you can gather up a group of them that's been out there for a long period of time and take them to sheriff's sale.
okay.
And are there stipulations with sheriff's sale? I mean, does it have to be a certain amount? Does it have to be a certain time frame that they have to be delinquent?
No.
It's just it's the right of the taxing body.
To take them to sheriff's sale.
I asked a year ago, a solicitor that was sitting there, and he advised me in front of all of you that sheriff's sale is an expensive thing, and sometimes you could come out of it on the losing end.
That is
Because
correct.
it costs $5,000 to $6,000 for
Easily.
a sheriff's sale.
Easily.
And if you don't get that much for the property, you lose money.
You do.
And the other thing he advised me of is, the school district is the big loser or collector of this, and they're the ones that should initiate this, because we're only getting,
All right, we have,
what, a tenth of it?
yeah, I gave the auditors, they wanted a number of our total lien properties, the liability. I gave them a total cost of $793,000. That's not a lot of money compared to what you're talking about. This is from 1970 until the present time. Now, the school board, if they were look at their delinquent taxes, you're probably talking at probably $8 million.
Yeah, that's the figure Mr. Stubenport mentioned last.
So now you have $8 million and you have $500,000. Now, you're willing to take that list and with the school board, and you say, all right, we're going to go after some of these, and some of them are long. I mean, we have one property down on 48, for example, down on Moss side. It is, and I talked to Mr. Little on this. It's a piece of land that it's 8 acres or 9 acres. It's along the hillside. They have not paid taxes since 1970. They probably owe you about $100,000. It is Zone S. You would have to change, if you wanted to take this property and put it back on the books, there's another family that owns this with a bunch of relatives. If you take it to sheriff's sale, nobody's going to buy that land because it's Zone S. So it would be fruitless to do it. Now, if you would change the zoning on this particular property and say, all right, it's, commercial and so forth, now you've got a piece of property that's worth a bunch of money. So that's one of the reasons why you have about one of these major properties. But there's other people on there, that list, that are business people that owe you a little bit of money.
Well, yeah, I was looking at one that's like almost $5,000.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's their
they
plaza
owe
or
you-
that's the individual
Yeah.
themselves.
You have to look at the particular partial, and I wouldn't know it right offhand.
Okay.
But if they owe you $5,000,
What do they owe the school?
$50,000. So there's where you want to be, and you want to get with the school and say, all right, we'll pay our fair share. We'll pay 10% of the cost to get some of these partials back on the tax rolls. That's a nice arrangement.
Yeah.
But I've heard this for over a year. I talked about it, we talked about it. I don't see any action.
Well, the school board was supposed to meet and. come up with some
They keep saying things, yeah, we'll meet. Give me a list give you, not me,
Yeah,
because
right.
I don't really deal with this thing. You give a list of 10. We're willing to pay our fair share of 15%. You pay the rest. Let's take it off. It isn't a hard thing to do, but it takes somebody to do the initiative.
Well, Pat, my contention was that if we would start doing that 5 properties at a time, maybe everybody else would get the message.
Right.
Some people will, but you deal with, a lot of these properties are not as easy as you might think.
I know, I realize.
You got hillsides, you got all kinds of, you can't even find the ownership. Some of these owners, these people have died many years ago, and we don't know who owns it. Really, you could send a tax bill to them, you come back, and they don't know the owner. But that's if you really want to get involved and you really want to take 5, and then start working your way down until you get to know the properties that you can really go after.
So are these just for 2015?
Yes,
Or is this what they owe as of 2015?
it's only 2015.
Because they've been exonerated in the past, probably.
Yeah, and they've been on the delinquent rules. You would have, each
Not
piece,
exonerated, but that's not the,
yeah, each piece. Say you got 5 of them, you pick 5 out. I'll go give you how much they owe from the prior years. And I'll tell you how
It could
many.
be, probably a lot of it, it's going to end up being the same people.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you add
Yeah,
up how
I'll
much
give you,
they owe.
you could take last year's list, run it down right beside parallel, and you'll find out the same people. It's just the way it is. And a lot of reasons why they're on the list, really. Most people in Monroeville will pay their taxes, 98%,
Which is
without a
great.
problem.
Yeah.
And then you'll get, this year, we'll probably wind up with over 100,000 worth of delinquent taxes collections. Because people buy and sell. And when they buy and sell, that's when they pay the delinquent taxes. So you always have a constant, rolling forward, rolling back. So, again, though, I think you've got a good point. I think we should take 5. I think we discuss it with you discuss it with the school board and do something, but don't,
Well, we talked about that last month.
yeah,
and we thought
don't,
they
you
were
know,
gonna come back.
don't, we keep talking about, I heard this discussion 6 months ago.
Yeah, well, they came to us last month, and we thought they were going to come back and give us an answer as what they had decided, so
Whatever.
maybe Tuesday.
question.
Pat.
Yes.
Very specific.
Yeah.
School districts on here.
Yes, what that is, there's properties that are in Monroeville that is owned by the school district, and also Monroeville. But I brought that up to Mr. Little lately, about 2 months ago, and I said, here's a group of properties that Monroeville owns, and they're, you know, they're delinquent on my rules, only because of past Berkheimer, when they took over. They had a whole list of property, probably, I think I gave you 10 of them. They were owned by Monroeville, they were into delinquents.
LaSalle, that's apartment complex.
Anyway, what it is that they're partials of land that Monroeville owns and they inherited, and they're not off the tax rolls yet. And the solicitor will take them off sooner or later. He just became aware of it. That's not fair to him.
Well, we should have for sale signs on those then.
That's up to you. That's up
I
to
mean,
you to
when they're
find
just
out that
sitting there.
particular property, look at it, and decide if you want to sell it or not.
So there's a few things here we need to research. That's a
Yeah.
good point to bring up, that as far as finding these properties. And it's,
I
A lot of
got, no, I
labor
gave, you have the list. I gave the list.
of the properties we own.
Yes, I have given that to, Joe's not here, and I don't want to pick on him when he's not here.
Okay.
But I gave him,
Sedlock?
yeah, didn't I give you the property, the 12?
copies, yeah.
You just
Yeah.
get here?
No, he's such a nice man, you don't see him. He's almost invisible.
Out of sight, out of mind.
That's right. That's the way to do it, Joe. Anyway.
Okay.
So there's some things we can look into.
No, there is.
But this just takes this off of the tax collectors
Yeah, you're just taking it off mine, you're shifting it.
and moving it to the delinquents, and we can still act on it. Obviously, the delinquent tax collector
Right.
will now collect these taxes or go after them.
We will go after-
Long-term counsel could
the
look
first
into some of
thing
these
we
bigger
do-
offenders.
First thing we do, we sent out a letter, which will be going out this week. And that letter will say that we'll lien your property in the next 60 days. And the cost will be $20 just to send the letter out. That's the cost of and then it costs them another $25 once we lien. Now, all that money goes back to Monroeville. That doesn't go in my office, that goes directly to Monroeville. And we charge interest from the day one, once we go to delinquent, from March 1 to whenever they pay, there's an interest factor of 6%. So, that's according to the law.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Perfect.
Fulkerson.
Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome. Did you want me to ask another question? Because I'm going to go home.
Okay, well, I'm going to discuss one more thing while Mr. Fulkerson's here, something we talked about today, actually, as well. There is a Act 77. For anyone that is not aware of what that is, it is done by Allegheny County. If you have your home in a trust of any kind, whether it's a revocable, irrevocable, if trust is put onto your property, you are now considered incorporated and not privately owned. Therefore, Allegheny County is now saying you are no longer eligible for the senior discount, that you may now have 30% off.
That is correct.
You will no longer be eligible for that because they don't see it as a privately owned home, they see it as an incorporation. Now, a lot of people aren't aware of this. The county's kind of getting caught up with notifying the municipalities, which of course we're one of them. And as they happen, the tax bills are changing for our residents. So this mainly has to do with the seniors because of a lot of people have done them in trust, and a lot of people have not been made aware by their attorneys as they're setting up a trust. This is now something they're going to lose that benefit of their senior tax
Right.
credit.
They lose the 30% for the municipality, and they lose the 30%.
Cent for the county.
Yes.
But the homestead will not come into play
That's because the Allegheny County decided not to go
to
further.
go for that.
They could go for that some years from now.
But they're just not right now.
No, they.
But so anybody that has their property in trust, if they haven't found you yet, they eventually will. If you're considering putting your stuff into trust, please
Take
bring that
under-
up to your attorney or your
Take
tax.
it under consideration.
Take it under consideration as to whether you think it's a good thing or a bad thing for yourself. So
right.
I just wanted everyone to be aware. And
Thanks,
thank you
Lynn.
for the information.